In the bustling border town of Windsor, Ontario, where the Detroit River whispered secrets between Canada and the United States, lived a man named Mark Carney. Not the famous economist, mind you, this Mark was a simple distillery owner, a third-generation Canadian whose family had built Carney's spirits from the ground up. His rye whiskey was the pride of the province, aged in maple barrels that gave it a sweet, patriotic kick. But times were tough. American imports flooded the market, cheaper and flashier, with labels screaming stars and stripes. Mark watched as his shelves gathered dust while Budweiser and Jack Daniels flew off the racks. It stung, not just his wallet, but his soul. "This is our land," he'd mutter to his wife, Elena, over late-night coffees. "We built this country on hard work, not handouts from the South." Elena's eyes would soften, her hand on his. She was the heart of their operation, managing the books and the family. Their two kids, Sophie and Liam, helped out after school, Sophie with her artistic flair designing labels, Liam with his endless energy stacking crates. But lately, the kids sensed the tension. Sales were down 30%, and whispers of layoffs hung in the air like the fog off the river. Mark couldn't sleep. One stormy night, as thunder rattled the windows, he paced the living room. "We have to fight back," he declared. Elena nodded, though worry creased her brow. That's when the idea struck, a boycott. Mark would rally Canadians against U.S. alcohol, calling it an invasion of their cultural heritage. Carney's boycott, he'd name it, turning his family's name into a battle cry. The next morning, Mark fired up his old computer and posted on social media. "Fellow Canadians, it's time to stand tall. Boycott American booze, support local distilleries like ours. Let's show them our maple spirit." The post went viral faster than a hockey puck on ice. Local news picked it up, then national outlets. Protesters gathered outside liquor stores, signs waving, "Keep Canada sober from Yankee spirits." Mark became a folk hero overnight. Interviews rolled in, he spoke passionately about preserving jobs, traditions, and the Canadian way. Elena beamed with pride, though she confided in Sophie, "Your dad's heart is in the right place, but what if this backfires?" Sophie, at 16, rolled her eyes but hugged her mom. "Dad's a fighter, Mom. It'll be okay." As the boycott gained steam, challenges mounted. American distributors laughed it off at first, but when sales dipped in border provinces, they fought back. Tariffs? No, something sneakier. They slashed prices, dumping cases of beer and whiskey onto Canadian shelves at rock-bottom rates. Fire sale, ads blared. Stores couldn't resist, shelves overflowed with U.S. labels, priced so low that even loyalists wavered. Mark's distillery felt the pinch harder. Orders dried up as consumers, squeezed by inflation, opted for the cheap imports. "How can we compete with that?" Mark groaned, slamming a fist on the table during a family dinner. Liam, only 12, looked up with wide eyes. "Dad, are we gonna lose the business?" The question hung heavy, a dagger to Mark's heart. Emotional cracks deepened. Elena argued with Mark one evening in the dim light of their kitchen. "This boycott is tearing us apart. We're alienating friends, half our suppliers have U.S. ties." Mark's voice cracked. "I did this for us, for Canada. Can't you see?" Tears welled in her eyes. "I see a man who's forgotten that borders don't define family." Sophie overheard, her own heart aching. She loved her dad's passion but hated the strain. At school, kids teased her, "Your dad's the boycott guy. My folks just bought a case of Coors for half price." She retreated into her art, sketching scenes of unity, Canadians and Americans sharing a drink by the river. The turning point came during a heated town hall. Mark stood at the podium, sweat beading on his forehead, defending his cause. "We're humiliated. Our shelves are dumping grounds for their excess." But a voice from the crowd, a burly trucker named Dave, who hauled goods across the border, stood up. "Mark, I respect you, but this hurts everyone. My routes are empty now, families on both sides are suffering." Murmurs rippled. Then, an elderly woman, Mrs. Harlow, shared her story. Her late husband was American, and their blended family cherished cross-border traditions. "Boycotts build walls, not bridges," she said softly. Mark faltered, memories flooding back. His own grandfather had immigrated from the U.S., blending cultures into the whiskey recipe that defined Carney's. That night, alone in his office surrounded by empty bottles, Mark hit rock bottom. He stared at a photo of his family, tears streaming. What have I done? The boycott, meant to uplift, had backfired spectacularly. Canadian media headlines screamed, "Canada humiliated as U.S. alcohol dumped on shelves, Carney's boycott backfires." Protests turned to mockery, sales at Carney's plummeted further. Elena found him there, wrapping her arms around him. "We fixed this together," she whispered. Inspired, Mark called a press conference the next day. "I was wrong," he admitted, voice trembling. "This isn't about us versus them. It's about community." He announced the end of the boycott and a new initiative, a cross-border festival, blending Canadian and American spirits in collaborative tastings. Relatable resolutions unfolded. Sophie designed posters for the festival, her art bridging divides. Liam helped organize games for kids from both sides. Dave the trucker became a partner, hauling supplies for free. Challenges persisted, skeptics boycotted the event at first, and weather threatened rain, but the family's unity shone. On festival day, under a clear sky, thousands gathered by the river. Mark and an American distiller shook hands, toasting to friendship. Elena watched, pride swelling as sales rebounded, not from exclusion, but inclusion. The story's emotional depth peaked when Mark shared a quiet moment with his kids. "I thought strength was in fighting alone," he said, "but it's in lifting each other up." Sophie hugged him. "We love you, Dad. Even when you mess up." Laughter echoed, healing wounds. The festival became annual, symbolizing resilience. Mark's distillery thrived, innovating blends that honored both nations. As the sun set over the river, Mark reflected, "Borders are lines on maps, but hearts know no boundaries." The experience taught him humility, turning humiliation into harmony. And in that inspiring message lay the true victory, not in boycotts or dumps, but in understanding and unity. In the heart of Vancouver, British Columbia, another chapter unfolded with a young entrepreneur named Aria Thompson. Aria had grown up in a multicultural neighborhood, her Canadian roots intertwined with her American cousins across the border in Seattle. She ran a small craft brewery, Thompson's Alesh, specializing in hoppy IPAs infused with local berries. When Mark Carney's boycott swept the nation, Aria felt torn. "This could boost us locals," she told her best friend, Jamal, over pints at her bar. But Jamal, whose family owned a logistics firm shipping U.S. goods, shook his head. "It's dividing people, Aria. My routes are ghost towns now." Aria joined the boycott initially, hoping for a sales surge. She plastered signs, "Support Canadian brews, boycott the imports." Customers cheered, but soon, the backlash hit. U.S. breweries retaliated by flooding the market with discounted cases, turning shelves into bargain bins. Aria's prices couldn't compete, her once bustling taproom emptied. "We're being humiliated," she confided in her diary, emotions raw. Her staff, a tight-knit group including single mom Carla and veteran brewer Tom, faced pay cuts. Carla's eyes filled with tears during a staff meeting. "I can't afford this, Aria. My kids need stability." The emotional toll mounted. Aria's relationship with her boyfriend, Ethan, an American software engineer, strained. "Your boycott is hurting my friends back home," he argued during a video call. Aria snapped back, "It's about protecting what's ours." But doubt crept in. One rainy afternoon, she visited her grandmother, Nana Rose, who lived in a cozy cottage overlooking the Strait of Georgia. Nana, with her wise, wrinkled smile, shared stories of post-war unity. "We traded goods freely then, child. Boycotts breed bitterness." Aria broke down, sobbing. "I thought I was helping Canada, but I'm just causing pain." Key challenges intensified. Suppliers hiked prices due to disrupted chains, and a viral video showed protesters dumping U.S. beer into the harbor, echoing Boston but backfiring as environmentalists criticized the waste. Aria's brewery teetered on closure. In a moment of desperation, she reached out to Mark Carney via email, sharing her struggles. To her surprise, he responded, "I've learned the hard way. Let's collaborate instead." Resolution bloomed. Aria pivoted, partnering with U.S. breweries for joint ventures. She hosted Borderless Brew Nights, where Canadian and American ales shared taps. Ethan helped promote it online, mending their bond. Carla's smile returned as crowds filled the bar. Tom innovated new recipes, blending styles. The boycott's failure became a catalyst for growth. Aria's sales doubled, not from exclusion, but innovation. Relatable characters deepened the narrative. Jamal rejoined as a supplier, his business rebounding. Nana Rose attended the events, toasting to unity. Aria's story mirrored Mark's, from humiliation to harmony. "We rise by lifting others," she told a crowd, voice steady. The inspiring message? True strength lies in bridges, not barriers. Meanwhile, in Toronto's vibrant distillery district, a bartender named Lucas Reyes felt the boycott's ripples. Lucas, a first-generation immigrant from Mexico via the U.S., mixed cocktails at a trendy spot called Maple Mixer. His flair for fusing flavors, tequila with Canadian rye, drew crowds. When the boycott hit, his boss enforced it, no U.S. spirits. Lucas protested quietly. "But my recipes need that balance." Customers dwindled, opting for cheaper dumped imports elsewhere. Emotional depth surfaced in Lucas's home life. His partner, Mia, a nurse working long shifts, worried about bills. "This job is your dream, but we can't eat dreams," she said gently. Their adopted dog, Buddy, sensed the stress, whining at their feet. Lucas's challenge peaked during a slow night when a regular, Mr. Patel, shared his own immigrant tale. "Borders are illusions, son. Focus on what unites us." Inspired, Lucas quit and started a pop-up bar, ignoring the boycott. He sourced ethically, blending nations. Challenges arose, permits delayed, skeptics boycotted him, but Mia's support fueled him. Resolution came at his first event, a multicultural mixer where stories flowed like drinks. Success followed. He opened a permanent spot, employing locals affected by the dump. The plot wove through these lives, pacing steadily, rising tension in the boycott's fervor, emotional valleys in backfires, climactic resolutions in unity. By the end, the strong message resonated: humiliation teaches humility, and backfires ignite better paths. Across the prairies in Calgary, Alberta, rancher-turned-distiller Fiona McGregor embodied resilience. Her single malt, infused with prairie grains, was a staple until the boycott. Joining eagerly, she rallied farmers, "Keep our shelves Canadian." But the dump crushed her, U.S. whiskey undercut her prices. Fiona's husband, Grant, a quiet supporter, saw her spirit break. "We're losing the farm," she wept. Their daughter, Isla, 18, stepped up, using social media to pivot. "Let's collaborate," she urged. Challenges, resistance from purists, logistics nightmares. Resolution. A prairie festival with U.S. partners. Fiona's emotional arc, from pride to despair to joy, inspired all. In Montreal, Quebec, sommelier Pierre Laurent navigated linguistic divides. The boycott amplified tensions, but Pierre's wine bar suffered from associated dumps. His challenge, reconciling French-Canadian heritage with global tastes. Resolution, inclusive tastings, healing cultural rifts. These interconnected tales built a tapestry of emotion, challenges met with heart. The pace flowed like a river, building suspense, delving deep, resolving upliftingly. And as the final chapter closed on this saga of backfired boycotts and reborn bonds, remember, in a world of divisions, unity is our greatest strength. If this story moved you, hit that like button, it helps spread these tales of hope. And subscribe for more inspiring narratives that bridge hearts and borders. Your support means the world.